The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys! This is Media Mash,
A roundtable of Cowboys insiders
dropping wisdom
and offering sizzling takes
on the current state of your Dallas Cowboys.
Now, your host,
Newy Scruggs.
Media Mash. Media Mash today. We're going to have some fun.
Oh, yeah.
Look at
Super
you
Bowl week.
bringing that enthusiasm.
Joy and passion, baby.
No backstabbing.
Just talking to Ron Washington today about that, baby. So, joy and passion. We got the Hall of Famer Ed Werder is here. He is the author. He is Jean-Jacques Taylor, working on a new book that is it going to be this year's release? I know you won't give me all that.
Next year.
Next year.
Yes.
Okay.
Who's the subject?
Oh, we're not talking about that.
Sports.
Oh, we're not? Oh.
No.
Sports.
A sports figure?
Sports and leadership.
Could be.
A Cowboys figure?
No, I think Jean-Jacques Taylor spent a whole lot of time in college with Coach Prime. By the way, when I go to the library, I still see the Coach Prime book over there, that kind of thing. Man.
Paper book should be out soon.
Okay.
Has anybody checked it out?
It's a hard copy. I've checked it out.
You've checked it out.
Yes, and he also gave me an autographed copy.
Oh, not me. All the time I spent with this young man, developing his skill set,
Cussing me out.
admonishing him when it was necessary, teaching him joy and passion.
Yeah. Definitely passion.
Couldn't get a signed copy.
Wasn't much joy sitting up in that Philadelphia press box till 2 o'clock while the agony writer was arguing with the editor. And I was too new to be like, you know what? I'm finna take a cab. I'll holler at you later.
You got to believe in what you're writing.
Man, him and
You got to
Nels
take a
Jensen,
stand for it.
Frazier and Ali over just all night long, man. That's why I remember it so clearly.
As you well know from your time working.
Because of your inconvenience. That's what you remember about it.
Your time working me at Channel 5, we just got to do what we do.
Yeah.
And now, Ed, you're over at Channel 8, hey, man, you do what there's no editor, no, just do it. Yeah.
Say what you want to say.
Yeah. They trust you. They trust
Like here.
Yeah.
Remarkably.
Yes. It's Super Bowl week. Have you really dialed into it at all, Ed?
It's not the same as being there, obviously. I mean, for 20 plus years, Sal covered a team and I covered the other team, and you were responsible for every single thing that happened. I mean, I covered the Raiders when the Barrett Robbins story broke about on game day. Where was he? Why was he not in the hotel? Why was he not in the country? I also was covering the Falcons and had to wake Dan Reeves up the morning of the game about the Eugene Robinson arrest. So, yeah, there have been a few things I've had to cover of some scale that are far beyond what we're doing here today.
He was trying to play with joy and passion.
Is that what their names were?
Perhaps. Man of the year. I did a trick.
NFL Man of the Year, yes. Does it feel like Super Bowl week? Have you paid attention at all?
I ain't paid one. Let me preface it. No, I have not paid any attention to it. 2, over the years, I have developed a real disdain for pregame chatter. Like, I don't like it at all. I don't watch pregame shows during the season. Right. It's just a bunch of superfluous blah, 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 blah.
I've spent a lot of time, analyzing the matchup and gathering statistical information that I find to be fascinating to share in situations like this.
Yeah. Now, see,
if called upon.
He does that. So I don't mind an occasional stat, but all this, it's just too much.
So this is beautiful. I'm glad you said it, Ed, because in third person. Newy Scruggs has been doing Cowboys and Luka Doncic. That's what my last week was.
Oh, no, that's all Luka, baby.
And
Cowboys coaching hires and Luka being traded.
I mean, they hired the running back. Okay, great. Yes, he was like, let's hear from Anthony Davis. So that's where I've been in that. I've been in that hole. So Philadelphia is a 1.5 favorite here. Are we talking enough about their defense? Because if they win this game, it's going to have to be with a supreme defensive effort.
Well, Philadelphia is the first team since the '92 Cowboys to go into the Super Bowl with the NFL's leading rusher, Saquon Barkley, and the league's #1 defense. The Cowboys obviously did it with Emmitt Smith and that Charles Haley-led defense back in 1992 when they won the Super Bowl. And, I mean, the Eagles have they've got the #1 defense in football under Vic Fangio. I think just overall, the Eagles are going to be a real challenge for the Chiefs across the board. I think the thing the Eagles have to do to win the game is force Mahomes to hold the ball. If his first receiver's open, he's going to beat you. And he generally has gotten it out quick. Philadelphia's been, dominant in the playoffs. I mean, they're on a scoring tear. They've got 10 takeaways and not turned the ball over yet. Nobody's done that going into a Super Bowl. In fact, this is the first Super Bowl where the two starting quarterbacks have entered the game having a streak of more than 200 consecutive passes without an interception.
Now, see, all of that is great, and it makes sense, and I buy into it, except at the end of the day, you're going to take Mahomes, you're going to take Hurts, you're going to take Andy Reid, you're going to take Sirianni. Now, Spagnuolo might be a push with Fangio, but still, it's Spagnuolo. And so at the three key spots, I picked the Chiefs. That's why it's hard for me to bet against the Chiefs. And if the game is close in the fourth quarter, I believe in Mahomes' magic. Now, I ain't the only one, obviously, but that's how I get down.
Well, Jalen Hurts and Sirianni have not won an away game in the postseason in their careers, and they've not won a neutral site game yet in their careers. But they almost did, and it was against the Chiefs.
Well, Hurts is – now, I say all that, but Hurts tends to be a big game player.
Yes.
So,
Well, he had a historic day last time in the Super Bowl against the Chiefs with the 3 touchdown runs, 70 yards rushing, 300 yards passing.
I expect the same kind of game, really. Fourth quarter, end of the game, who got the ball, go make it happen.
And yet nobody seems all that excited about the matchup. I know we just saw it, but it was a great game.
It's a great game, man.
Yeah, because the Chiefs have gone on to this other next level of it, I think we've kind of forgotten what Philadelphia did in the game. I was telling somebody about Jalen Hurts. I said, this guy's had 2 championship games where he did all he could. The first one against Alabama, he left the field with the lead, and then Deshaun Watson just happened to go take Clemson right down the field and win that football game. So it's like Jalen did his part. Right, he did his part. Saban's defense didn't hold up, and then of course in the Super Bowl, you couldn't ask him to do more. I mean, he did his part.
Except he fumbled and it was returned for a touchdown.
Yeah.
So you could ask him not to fumble this time, and the game could be different.
Yeah, fair point. But overall, if you
take that game every time.
If he came back and gave you those same numbers this Sunday, you'd say, okay, yeah.
But Andy Reid got something special for him because that's what he do.
So obviously, Andy Reid is got a Hall of Fame resume at this point in time. What about someone like Steve Spagnuolo, who, oh by the way, was the defensive coordinator for the New York Giants when Belichick's undefeated Patriots went out to Arizona and they won that football game and held them to 14 points.
Yeah. Created all kinds of pressure on Brady that he had not seen and did not respond well to in the game.
Right. Where does a guy like that start to fit in to this new NFL where they are bringing in, like we saw Dick LeBeau finally get into the Pro Football Hall of Fame? Like, where do we see a Steve Spagnuolo who's now got 4 Super Bowl rings as an assistant coach could get
which is the most? He already has the most, and he has a chance to get another one this weekend.
But now I think he's finally. I think it all falls down to people in the league know you're really good, you're great, and then it finally, for somebody like him, then it finally starts to seep into the media, and then you start getting attention. Like in the last game they played, it wasn't just that he called a blitz that they hadn't seen all year. He called a corner blitz that they hadn't seen. Those are the kinds of things you hear when people have respect for you and they start talking to you and getting into you.
And he saved it for exactly the biggest moment in the game.
And why do we remember all of this? Because they talked about it. They made a big deal about it. So now it's kind of in your conscience like, oh, what's Spagnuolo got for him this week? And then what's he saved for the fourth quarter to unveil something that Jalen Hurts hadn't seen, and will it work?
And to the Hall of Fame question, I mean, you're right. He could easily be elected as a contributor or as a coach. It's still remarkable to me that, I think this year's finalist is Mike Holmgren. And Mike Shanahan's not in yet. Mike Shanahan won back-to-back Super Bowls, and we still see people running the Shanahan offense, including Shanahan's own son, who's had a remarkable amount of success using it in San Francisco. But I think ultimately when they debate it and when he becomes a candidate, he's going to have the backing of the New York media, which will be a significant factor in determining whether he gets in or not, too.
It's just ironic, and I think about even the coaching search that Jerry had. A guy like Steve Spagnuolo should have been on the list when I think about how well Dan Quinn adjusted and with his second opportunity and all that he did, that to me, when I just kind of go back and I think about, Spagnuolo should have been a guy they had a conversation with because...
Has he worked here before?
No.
Okay, then. Why? Yeah. What are we talking about?
You're talking about the Cowboys should have interviewed him?
What are we talking about, man?
You know what? The Cowboy and other teams. And
Other teams did, I think, interview him. A couple other teams. I think he did get a couple of
Did he?
interviews. Not in person, obviously, because he's been preparing a team to play the last game of the season for the third straight year.
Did the Saints?
I just don't remember which teams it was. I know that the management and ownership of the Rams, where he was the head coach, and it failed badly. They were a horrible team at the time. I think Sam Bradford was the quarterback. They really advocated for him to get another opportunity as a head coach. But obviously, unless the Saints change their minds and hire Spagnuolo instead of move everybody expects it to be Kellen Moore, it's not going to happen.
Now, do you think, because you spend a lot more time covering the league, you think Spagnuolo is a good candidate for another head coaching job, or is he one of those cats who's just better as an OC? As a DC.
I guess it's just hard to get past the personality that you see on, the sideline during games. I think he's very demanding. He's very creative. He has his guys well prepared to execute the plan, and he has a great plan. But personality-wise, I think the same questions exist about him and being in front of the room and responsible for the offensive side of the ball and special teams. He's great when he's responsible for a third of the team.
Okay.
I don't know about when it's the whole team, but yeah, somebody should have probably waited and given him the chance to explain his vision and how he's changed. That was a long time ago that he was the Rams coach.
So Jets, Jaguars, Raiders were those three teams, according to producer Chris, had talked to Steve Spagnuolo. But it's
quite a few.
It's always interesting to me, and I used to say this a lot when I did my NBC Sports radio show. It's interesting on who we choose to forgive and who we choose to condemn. You're one chance, you're done. Come on back, try it one more time. Hey, Norv, do it one more time. Wade Phillips, come on one more time. Eric Mangini, don't worry about it, try one more time. It's just very interesting on who gets these.
Well, you mentioned Dan Quinn. Obviously, there's no questions about his personality in front of a team and his ability to command and lead a room or to engage with both sides of the ball. And he was a successful head coach. He lost a Super Bowl, but he got his team to the Super Bowl. And Matt Ryan had an MVP season. Right. So there weren't the questions about him that there are about Spagnuolo. Whether they're right or wrong, I don't know. I guess they're fair questions. Yeah. And we don't know how he answers them and how that comes across. But I'm surprised he doesn't get another opportunity at some point.
All right. Getting ready to go to break here. We'll dive more into the Cowboys coaching staff. But give me your Philadelphia prediction, Kansas City prediction for Super Bowl.
I'm going to take the Chiefs in a historic three-peat, 27-24.
JT, what you got?
I'm changing my score because I think it's a little too high. But I kind of like it. Chiefs, 31-29.
31-29. You know what? A part of me wants to go with Philadelphia from the standpoint of the defense. And it just so many times when I start thinking about, these matchups and I think about defense. I go back to the Denver-Carolina game and I think about that Raider game. We talked about Barrett Robinson. We forgot about that Tampa defense. But there's just something about Patrick Mahomes and the only Super Bowl they lost is because they didn't have any tackles that day against Tampa Bay. And they couldn't compete. They couldn't protect him.
Well, remember last time these two teams played in the Super Bowl was on that questionable field where nobody could get any kind of good footing, and it really crushed the Eagles' pass rush. And the Eagles have developed a great pass rush with, Jalen Carter leading inside, and they've had trouble protecting Mahomes. Right. Like I said, if you can make him hold the ball, you might be able to sack him. He's been sacked 36 times during the regular season.
Give me a close football game, 26-24. Kansas City wins it. At this point in time, that's what I'll go with. But and Jerry will feel really good because he had to watch Philadelphia hoist one. But let's dive into Brian Schottenheimer's staff a little bit and get some thoughts on the running back coach, the offensive coordinator. The Cowboys are going to be running out here next year as they get ready for the 2025 season. He's Ed Werder. That's Chuck Taylor. I'm Newy Scruggs, Media Mash right here on DallasCowboys.com.
How do you tell the world about all the great gifts in the Yeti store? Let her rip, Troy.
All right, folks, let's get started with the Yeti French Press. Enjoy coffee that stays hot for hours in a French press. 34 ounce for you, 6'4" for the cruise, the Yeti French Press. Up next, waterproof bags. Bags are waterproof. Submersible waterproof doubles, waterproof bags. World's mostly water, so get a waterproof Yeti bag. Do I smell something cooking? Oh, new cast iron skillets made to be passed down like Mama's recipes. Take your steak, cornbread, cobbler's pot pie, and potatoes next level with 3 sizes of Yeti cast iron skillets.
Gear, gifts, and product experts. Visit the Yeti store on McKinney Street and at South Lake Town Square today.
How's Wingstop sound? Crispy, juicy classic wings, sauced and tossed in those 11 soul-satisfying flavors. Paired with hand-cut seasoned fries, house-made honey mustard, blue cheese, or signature Wingstop ranch. I think you've heard enough. Get your flavor delivered at wingstop.com.
This is Nate Newton from Hanging with the Boys, and Wingstop is here to bring the flavor to game day as the official wings of the Dallas Cowboys. Order now by downloading the Wingstop app or ordering online at wingstop.com.
Hey, Cowboys fans, a 2024 football season is here, and SeatGeek is here to help you experience all the action. SeatGeek makes it easy to find tickets so you can be a part of all the touchdown celebrations this season. Whether you're buying or selling tickets to Cowboys football games or to any other live event, SeatGeek is the place to do it. SeatGeek is the official primary ticketing partner of the Dallas Cowboys. The most disruptive idea in ticketing? A ticket that works. Expect the expected. SeatGeek.
How about them Cowboys? Or how about them Tyson Cowboys Nuggets? As we cheer for the stars on the field, we love that we've also got some stars on our plate, thanks to Tyson brand star-shaped Cowboys Nuggets. They sure make game day special, and for every purchase of the new Tyson Cowboys Nuggets this holiday season, Tyson Foods will donate $1 to the Salvation Army up to $100,000. As you enjoy your stars on and off the plate, remember, tailgates and game day have always been Tyson.
Back to Media Mash.
All right, Media Mash right here on DallasCowboys.com. During the break, we're sitting around here talking about Luka, which was a good thing for Jerry Jones.
Oh, yeah.
A very, very good thing because
Moved up the local GM rankings.
Who thought that was possible? My man Jim Neal still at the top, followed closely by Chris Young.
he's not.
Who's at the top? Chris Young's at the top?
Yes.
No, Jim Neal's at the top.
No, he's not. No.
I mean, we could debate this on
Okay. Sir, there's a flag flying. There's a World Series championship that's here.
Okay.
That right there trumps.
All right, fine.
You win.
I mean, what else? What are we doing this for, right?
Yeah.
You capitulated faster than the Lakers said yes on the trade proposal.
And look,
That's because I forgot with the Stars' consistency. They get there, but they ain't delivered it yet.
And
Once they deliver it, he'll surpass.
Around the rim.
and so for me, it was twofold. One, you delivered it, but also the way you did. You went out and got Bruce Bochy, and I went out to the press conference. I was surprised at how little of the local media were there. Because to me, I said, this is the biggest hiring of a proven winner since Bill Parcells came to town. I mean, 3 World Series championships. No, by the way, he got the first one against you. And this guy's now coming here to do this.
And he did finish in last place last year, close to it. So,
Little grace to
that's
World
why
Series
that's why
champions,
as if we cared.
Now Bochy does it every other year, so this year I'm expecting big things.
I said to myself, so, hey man, we'll win the World Series next year. Fish near last. Yeah.
Deal.
I mean, Jerry been living off his 30 years ago.
The rent's not been free.
So Jerry went out and hired Brian Schottenheimer, and the fan base was restless. They weren't happy.
No.
On Monday, we had the press conference, and then Saturday night, everyone really forgot about it because Luka Doncic was traded, and so cover has been seen since. The Cowboys have hired running backs coach Derek Foster and secondary / cornerbacks coach David Overstreet II. They're coming in here. They also hired the coordinator, the offensive line coach from Arizona. He's going to come in here, and he will be the Cowboys
Clayton Adams.
Clayton Adams. And so the thing about Clayton, and I think about here, is I thought Arizona did a nice job running, but Ed, here comes the question: that how much of it do we talk about the running because he has a running quarterback?
Yeah, who gained almost 600 yards.
And how much of it is, he influenced it and he created, the talent on the offensive line, developed it. But just like here, he didn't call the plays in Arizona.
Yeah.
And he's not going to be calling the plays here.
No.
And I would say this, though. So I didn't get to comment on the Schottenheimer promotion because I was out ill last week on the show, so I missed it. But so just real quick, I would say...
Don't worry, Clarence talked enough for you. And him both.
I would note that Jerry's doing it in a way that's never worked for him, and it's not recently worked in the NFL. Like every other team this hiring cycle, all 6 other teams have gone out and hired a head coach from somewhere else. Nobody else has promoted from within their staff. Jerry's done that now 3 times. The other 2 times were Dave Campo and Jason Garrett. And they combined to win 2 playoff games in whatever, the 13 years, 15 years they were head coaches. Jason won 2, right? In 10 years.
Camps was 5-11, 3 straight years.
3 straight years.
But he helped get the cap right. Give him his credit.
Yeah.
So it's not worked. And then since what is he? 2000 and anyway, whatever.
The year of our Lord.
In recent year, the last 7 times an NFL franchise has promoted from within, that head coach has done one and done 4 times. And only one of those coaches in the last 5 years is still with the team as the head coach.
Have any of those coaches been promoted from a loser?
So
a losing team?
So Todd Bowles.
Todd Bowles is the only one still.
I said Todd Bowles is the exception that I can think of when we talk about that. And he was the defensive coordinator on a Super Bowl winning team.
For Bruce Arians, and then Arians retired.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's not worked, but I would say the one thing that makes sense to me about doing it this way is keeping some continuity within the offensive system, but making a change of note, or so they believe that they have, is that I don't think if you want to run the football more and that be a significant part of your identity on offense, I don't think McCarthy was ever going to do that.
Never. No.
And so to me, that's the part of it that justifies Brian Schottenheimer, because Schottenheimer has led the league in rushing as a play caller twice in Seattle. And so if that's the way you want to play, McCarthy wasn't taking you there.
Agreed. It was one of the things where I would defend Ezekiel Elliott in his contract. I was like, when Jason Garrett was here, you ran the ball, you gave a contract to a guy who believed in the run game. He had a guy who could run the ball. Then you went out and you hired a guy who wants to passing coach. And so when people were like, well, he's overpaid, he's over this, like, if we're being a little bit fair towards Elliott in the contract, he was hired. You gave him that contract based on we're going to run
Jason Garrett.
Right, Jason Garrett.
The offensive line, the finishing run game identity. And Garrett was going out of contract and was being forced to prove he could win, and he prevailed upon Jerry that that's not fair to me to put me in that situation if I don't have my best player.
Right.
Like Jason thought his best player was Ezekiel Elliott, and Mike always believed his best player was Dak Prescott. And that was never going to change. The first thing I said to people when they hired McCarthy was Zeke Elliott is done winning rushing championships in Dallas.
You were correct, sir.
Because Mike was somebody, even in Green Bay, who talked about the importance of running the game and what the number needed to be every week, and that number was seldom, if ever, reached. It just wasn't a priority.
I mean, won a game over the Cowboys in the playoffs with David Montgomery, a running back. A wide receiver going running back.
And how have Jerry and Steven experienced success
with running backs, man?
Right, running the football, playing defense.
That's what they do.
Well, that and just the history of the franchise. Back to Dwayne Thomas, who should have been the MVP of Super Bowl VI.
Don Perkins, the whole
this
shebang.
This is what they are. They're. I've told people they play great defense when they've won championships and they've run the football. That has been the history of the Cowboys.
Dak has shown you over 9 years who he is and what he's capable of and what he needs around him to have success. And it's not throwing the ball 40 times a game.
Nope. His sweet spot's about 32.
You can pay him like that if you want to, but don't play him that way.
Isn't it almost, and I made this comparison, tell me if you think I'm off point. I said, it's like Jared Goff. Jared Goff is a guy who they need to have good offensive line play around him, because up the middle, he definitely can get knocked off his mark quickly, and a run game. Go give him what Brad Holmes did in Detroit. There you went from a guy who Sean McVay just said, hey, man, I'm out on, and the league was like, yeah, man, this guy can't do it.
He's a bridge to your next guy.
Right.
Instead, he turns into a dominant player who
a Pro Bowler again,
and his team leads the NFL in scoring. And that was, to me, the attraction of Ben Johnson, because the way the Lions play is the way the Cowboys should play. Like they were under center and ran more play action than any team in football. And look at the results they had. Nobody scored 40 points more than they did. I mean, yeah, they failed in the playoffs ultimately, but that's the way Dak needs to be used. He needs to get out of being in a shotgun 70% of the time. He needs to be under center. They need to run the football, create balance, and help him out. Like, there are all kinds of coaches in the league who think Dak's perfectly capable of having postseason success if the Cowboys create the right environment and the right offense around him.
Oh, I think that's true because he can throw the ball. He just doesn't need to throw it 40 times.
And his mobility is going to be more limited than ever, we would suspect.
But he's got all the intangibles. He can manage the game. He can do all the stuff you need to help win. And he's a good leader.
And you hit on point right there that I don't think enough people are talking about is, I mean, McCarthy was here for 5 years and Dak was hurting 3 of them. 1 year very significantly.
2 years. He missed the majority of the games, and those were the 2 years they lost 10 games. When they had Dak, they won 12 games, 3 years in a row.
And the best way to try to, now coming off toward the bone off the hammy is run the football. That's
and not with him running the football.
Yeah, correct. I talked to Ashton Genty Friday at the Doak Walker Award when he was here, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm ready.
That's my job. I'll do that job. I want that job."
Yes, and I think, and I said this because I still believe you got to address the D line to me. If you can, in this division right now, if you're trying to win, if you can't stop the run, good luck. And if Osa Odigizua goes, but even if you keep Osa Odigizua, I mean, he's a good player.
You got 2 of the best running teams in your division now.
Right. So you need to address that. But I could see Genty at 12 because he's a name. He's a running back. You could sell a jersey. That kind of stuff that works.
He could help you win.
And if you're Brian Schottenheimer and you want to run the ball, can you go give me presumably the best?
Well, that was the argument they had when they were thinking about drafting Zeke at 4, right? And the way they got the defensive coaches to sign off because they wanted Jalen Ramsey was you can if you're the opponent, you can work around Jalen Ramsey on defense. You just throw to the other side. Like you can let him take away half the field. He can't take away all of it. Nobody can stop you from giving the football to number 15 from Ohio State as many times as we want to do it. And that's this is going to help the defense. You're going to be on the field, fewer plays. You're going to have the lead. We're going to be able to help manage the game. And that's how they sold it to the defense. And so you can sell anybody on a running back if you're going to use them that way.
If you give them 290 carries.
So he is small. He's small.
Is he? How thick is he?
He leads college football in breaking tackles 2 years in a row. Now, part of that's level of competition.
Small or short?
So he's
short.
He's short. Now, I talked to Dennis Thurman, who was the defensive coordinator at Hawaii, and they faced him. And he told me, he said, hey, look, he is a good football player, but he said in the league, he said he does wonder over 17 games. Like, basically, you got to have somebody else. Like
Rico Dowdle. Rico coming back for $1.5 million, too.
So let me just throw this out here. What if you drafted 2 guys at running?
Dude, I was just about to say that. Meaning, you take one, I don't know, there's such a deep class, and the question inevitably will come up, do you have to take Ashton? Is he that much better than the next tier? But you can certainly take one in the first or the second round, take another one in the 5th or the 6th round.
Yeah.
It's a team that hasn't drafted a running back in 4 of the last 5 years. I'll settle for 1.
We're just trying to win over here, man.
But I think they have a lot of holes, so I don't know that you can devote 2 of your draft picks, depending on how many they ultimately end up with, to the running back position, or if that's really necessary.
Okay, so I come back into just what you said. If the running back position can really help your defense, and we know it's 17 games, and just why not get 2? And
because they need a wide receiver.
I don't know what I would pay for Rico Dowdle at this point in time, but I mean, I just that can, and I'm talking.
Then you don't have. Well, the thing is that you can get him. He's not going to cost that much, I wouldn't think. But then you don't have to spend a second pick on a running back. And the question will be whether you want a receiver first or whether you want a running back first, or whether you want a defensive tackle first. They got a lot of holes, so go take the best player.
Yeah,
they got a lot of holes.
How about a tight end?
If your boy from Penn State is there.
There's a couple.
And that was who's the guy who was killing people running routes at the Senior Bowl?
Jack Besh from TCU.
Nah, the other guy.
Oh,
some other guy. I can't remember his name. But he was
best good player too.
Yeah,
good player.
Going to be a lot of contested catches though. He might make most of them.
There's a lot to look at. Hey, let's get our second break in here. One player, if you had to throw the franchise tag on right now, who would it be? Ed Werder will answer that. Chuck Taylor will answer that. I'm Newy Scruggs. It's Media Mash right here on DallasCowboys.com.
Star Sports Tours is the only official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, offering exclusive game weekend travel packages with pre-game sideline access and photo ops with current players, cheerleaders, and Cowboy legends. You want to stay at a team hotel, attend the best tailgate party in Texas, tour the Star, and talk X's and O's with me, Everson Walls? With Star Sports Tours, you can. Visit cowboystravel.com to book your travel package today.
Hey Cowboy fans, I'm Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. But lately, I've been learning a new game, crypto. Sound confusing? Don't worry, even us pros were rookies in crypto once. That's why I trust blockchain.com. They make crypto easy. No confusing jargon, just the tools to help you win.
Prescott keeps it, slides with a first down.
Invest like your icons, where everyone is a rookie in crypto with blockchain.com.
Perfect throw, my goodness. Wow, did he ever thread the needle.
Visit blockchain.com/Cowboys to get started.
Star Sports Tours is the only official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, offering exclusive game weekend travel packages with pre-game sideline access and photo ops with current players, cheerleaders, and Cowboy legends. You want to stay at a team hotel, attend the best tailgate party in Texas, tour the Star, and talk X's and O's with me, Everson Walls? With Star Sports Tours, you can. Visit cowboystravel.com to book your travel package today.
Cowboys football and Miller Lite. What a pairing. Can cracks at kickoff. Tailgates going way past postgame. Sunday night overtimes followed by Monday morning swagger. Brisket in the smoker. Miller Lite in the cooler. America's team playing America's greatest sport. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys football tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. 2023 Miller Brewing Company, Fort Worth, Texas.
Back to Media Mash.
How's his cap?
Newy Scruggs right here with you on the Media Mash. We got the author Jean-Jacques Taylor. We got the Hall of Famer Ed Werder. So Ed, is it a plaque? I know it's not a bust over in Canton. What is it? It's a plaque?
Yeah, they didn't do, for some reason, the whole cast iron plaster face thing. No, we didn't get a gold jacket from Hager, which kind of, I like a little better line than Hager.
You can go buy one of those, I think.
But no, they just, there's a plaque and they add your name to it.
Can't you go buy one of those though on your own?
Buy a bus?
Gold jacket. Gold jacket.
Gold jacket?
Go to Hager, buy a gold jacket.
I gotta have a gold jacket if I want
Hager,
one. But
call Hager and say, hey, it's
Just
Ed
walk
Werder.
around with it.
Right, it's Ed Werder. Baby, I'm in.
Floss on them, baby.
Yes.
It's not a great looking
Buy
color.
a
It's
sticker
not a
that
great looking
goes
color
on
on
the
me anyway.
breast.
It doesn't go with anything.
No,
I think those Hall of Fame guys, I always look at them to see how they accessorize. Like, does their tie go with it? What color shirt really goes with that thing?
I got a guy.
You got a guy?
Carlton Dixon. Carlton Dixon can make you. Carlton Dixon can make you
that gold
a gold jacket. Put the little.
I only want what I've earned.
That you've earned.
You've earned it.
No, if I earned it, they would give it to me.
Hall of Fame.
I earned having my name on a plaque.
And you get a ring from Johnston.
50 other people have their name on.
And I'd love for you to just show up one day with it on.
In here?
Yeah.
No, in Canton.
Do they give you free admission to the Hall of Fame at least?
Just
there are very few perks that come with being so recognized, but still a great honor in my mind.
I remembered when Cash Roy was a reporter for us at Channel 5. He got one of those colonial
plaid jackets,
and wore it and walked around with it. And people just got the stares.
Did he win? Oh,
yeah.
Former champion. Former champion.
Oh yeah.
If you're gonna get me a jacket, give me a green jacket. I'll pretend I won the Masters.
See,
Apparently, you don't have to win the Masters to get one of those.
That's one of those where I think somebody would say, "Excuse me, sir." I mean, you know, golf community,
they tell them,
right?
They watch TV and call in on you.
Exactly. Somebody from Augusta will call. I mean, they will call.
We want that back.
Yes, we are here. We've seen. I mean, that
we're having our lawyers call you.
Yeah. Pro football.
Cease and desist letter coming back.
Yeah, you'll just just some troll site will. Edward is wearing a gold jacket, but somebody from Augusta will call you about that. They guard. As you well know, they guard everything.
No, but it was a nice weekend. Got to make a little speech, and Chris actually recorded that for me without me asking, so I have that forever, and my name's on the plaque.
Did you go as long as Chris Berman did?
On the speech?
Yeah.
Never.
Okay.
Berman came to me one time. I guess it was Favre's first game for the Jets. And he did this really long and elaborate intro, which he's known to do. And I get like 45 seconds for my entire report, okay? And I said to him on the air, when he finally threw it to me, I said, Boomer, if that would have taken any longer, I would have had to gone in the locker room and make sure Favre didn't change teams again. And he said, well, if you don't like it, we can have Rachel Nichols take it next time.
Well, now.
Now it's perfect, Boom. Thanks. I like it a lot better knowing my options.
Yep.
Super Bowl week down in New Orleans. One of the best sites, I think, if you're going to have a Super Bowl, Miami, New Orleans, L.A., otherwise, But I love those three sites there. The Cowboys have a lot of free agents here. If you're going to throw a franchise tag and the players that are, significant players that are up, you got your kick returner, Devontae Turpin is up. Your kicker, Brandon Aubrey, has had another sensational year. You're going to have to pay this guy. He's such a weapon. Also, Diggy on your defensive line. He's up. Your slot corner, Jordan Lewis, is up here. If you're throwing a franchise tag someplace, where do you go?
Are those guys, the two special teams guys, are restricted, though, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, so you get a chance to keep them if you want to. I mean, I don't know that other than those two guys, I don't think they have a player that justifies using the franchise tag. And they've not been reluctant to use the franchise tag on this team over the years.
I like Osa, but I'm not paying Osa $23 million.
I was just looking it up. Osa, he's one of the biggest names in this class. He plays a premium position. There's 13 defensive tackles making over $20 million a year. But are you going to pay him over $20 million a year for... Last year, he had his best year. He had 47 tackles, career high 4.5 sacks, career high 23 quarterback hits. Did you ever watch a game and say, oh, my God, he's taking over this game?
See, he had moments, but he didn't dominate games. And it's okay to have moments. And he's a good player, but he's not $23 million.
But the problem for them is, under any system, if they lose him, they got to sign two. Now you got to sign two defensive tackles, right, that are starting caliber. And Matt Eberflus, the new defensive coordinator, we were just talking about the new coaching staff. Eberflus needs a 3-technique tackle. Like, that's what he bases everything he does on. And if it's not going to be Osa, who are you going to have?
Well, then
Chauncey Golston is better outside than inside.
Well, see, I would do this,
and he's up.
I'd rather give Osa a longer-term deal than a franchise deal, because at least then his cap number is not bad. He's a good player. He's just not a great player. And maybe I can get him a good player money over long-term than great player money over short-term.
Is there a player on the roster you look at and you say, I don't think he's going to be here next year, that the Cowboys may make a salary cap move? And for me, I think about Terrence Steele, your right tackle. And knowing that, okay, Guyton is going to be playing somewhere, be it left or right tackle, and you had Austin Richards last year who showed you something. But then again, this new
we don't know what the new coaching staff thinks of it.
What does the new coaching staff think? But I've got to believe that's where I kind of go back to Shoddy. I'm assuming he was in on last year when there were times where they were,
They chose not to play him. At the end of the year, they chose Edoga over him, who's a journeyman offensive tackle, over your first-round pick. When they had their choice in important games at the end of the season, as important as they could be for Mike trying to save his job, that's who they trusted. The coaches were all competing for their jobs, and who did they trust? Not Guyton.
No.
Now, it doesn't mean he won't have a great offseason and won't be better in this scheme, and maybe he does change positions and he's a better player at right tackle than he was at left tackle, but they clearly did not trust him as a rookie.
No, and he, man, it's I had questions about him off the rip just because, we're talking about the 7th or 8th tackle in the draft that they took, changing positions. And, he's a guy to me that's why you don't want to draft for need, because that's why they drafted him. If they didn't need a tackle, they weren't taking him in the first round. And so, so I don't have any great expectations for him.
They could have gotten a better tackle if they'd stayed where they were, but they traded back, and the reward was, well, you get a starting center out of it. So you take a lesser tackle potentially, but you get a starting center.
Yeah, I like BB, but you still need. I probably like Steele better than I like Tyler Guyton right now.
I think the guy they got a big question on is DeMarcus Lawrence.
Oh, see, I don't know if that's so much a question. I think
I would move on.
You hope Sam Williams can stay healthy and be a better option there.
This is one of those where you got to look at that in the draft. At 12, how many things are in play at 12? Running backs in play, defensive tackle could be in play. You talk about the tight end could be in play. They've got needs all over the place. But
wide receiver,
you're right. But
corner.
I have, when I think about the totality of his career, you've just about gotten as much as you're going to get out of him. His better days are gone. If you bring him back now, you're hoping he stays healthy.
He's a good player on a championship team. This ain't no championship team.
Yeah, I just think that, and this has kind of been the issue with holding on to guys too long.
You need to take some lessons from Nico. That's how you be a general manager. Nico, hey, I don't like you, dog. You served us well. Bye-bye.
I don't care what I get back. I'm just getting rid of you.
Think about it.
You'll know fully about Steele pretty early because looking at Spotrac, it says that his $13.25 million contract is fully guaranteed as of March 16th, 2025.
Oh, yeah. So
we'll
they'll either
figure
pay that.
They'll be making a March call on him.
Yeah.
We're a month away, 5 weeks away from that decision.
But
Austin Richards and Tyler Guyton look like hearing that from Chris makes me think these two look like, hey, we'll do that. Bring back Chuma Odoga one more time.
Isn't Steele one of 3 players who played every snap on offense last year in the entire league? And he is a pretty good run blocker.
He's a nice.
And so if you're going that direction,
and he's 3 years away from his injury, so maybe he will be what he was when they gave him his deal and they had so much hype for him.
But if they have money issues like they talked about here, and you're trying to get Micah Parsons.
But you don't want to get rid of guys that can help you and keep first-round picks that maybe cannot.
Does Zach Martin make more sense than...
Zach Martin said something interesting the other day. Whether I'm playing in Dallas or whether I'm playing...
Yeah, he went out of his way to note, I'm a free agent, by the way.
I
thought that stuck out at me of the comments he made about whether he's going to continue playing and whether it'll be here. He was the one who was pushing the whole, don't forget, I can leave if I want to.
Right. Which is his way of saying, if you want me to come back, come correct. And I'd be like, hey, dog, you got to go.
Now, but in saying that about Steele, his dead cap, if they release him, is also $13.5 million. So,
so might as well keep him.
Hey.
So you keep him and you have him for $3 million versus, I guess you can split the cap hit over 2 years, the dead money.
But you raise a good point when you talk about his ability in the run game.
He can run block now.
How does Clayton Adams and Brian Schottenheimer see him now fitting? And this is so just in that, to make me think again. That's what we got to do sometimes. Think again. Okay, then maybe you're going to be able to put him in a better position to take advantage more of his talent.
And you saw all the chaos they had with the offensive line and all the injuries last year. And he's the one guy who was there every week in every snap of every game.
Yeah.
And maybe, and this isn't if Guyton doesn't get it, then maybe Richards is the guy, and then you now have Guyton as a swing tackle. And I mean, at the end of the day, if you're trying to win, you're trying to figure this out. But these are the questions you have to do. I mean, you're not getting rid of him. It's kind of like Mozzie Smith. Like, hey, you're not getting rid of the guy because he hasn't so far been the player you wanted him to be. But it's what you got to do.
Getting close to that point.
I was gonna say, if he's my swing tackle, I'm just like.
What did Tom Landry say? You got 3 years to show us something?
Maybe Bill Parcells. I'll take 2.
Well, Bill said he got it from Tom.
I know, but I'm stretching on Bill. I'd take 2.
Bill said,
you better show up to training camp
year 3,
like you got something to prove.
If you don't show something, we're going to have to move on. Bill was ready to move on. So
that's me. Well,
I mean, look, Mozzie should have every opportunity to fail. And that's
he's already had that.
And that's but this is year 3. Hey,
third different coach. That doesn't help for him either.
And there you go. Let's see what the third different coach has to say. Let's see.
And a third different coach and one who really emphasizes that position, that defensive tackle position, more than
one who
any
wants you
others.
to play like your hair's on fire.
And no better way to flush it all out. We will know after year 3.
Now we're gonna know after them first few mini camps whether his tongue is dragging or whether he's been working out on the knowing that Eberflus is gonna be like sprint to the ball, sprint to the ball, sprint to the ball.
These are good things, correct?
Yeah, man.
Get up off the ground.
At some point in time, you got to know. I mean, Jerry West, the late Jerry West once told me, he said the problem with general managers is most people don't want to admit their mistake and go handle it right away. It's like,
Nico did. He thought he made a mistake. He like, I'm finna handle this right now.
He didn't draft him.
I was going to say his mistake was
Donnie Nelson.
His mistake was ending it. Not the beginning wasn't the problem. The acquisition wasn't the problem.
Hey man, somebody once told me same thing make you laugh, make you cry. When he went and got Kyrie, it was yes. Same thing make you laugh, make you cry.
As Ed Werder said at the top of the show, Jerry's moved up the general manager.
Nico 10 toes down at all times.
Nico dead last with a bullet right now, hoping this thing turns around. Ed Werder, thank you. Jean-Jacques Taylor.
Good to be back with you guys.
Thank you. Chris Beam, thank you. Everybody here, part of DallasCowboys.com. I'm Newy Scruggs. Talk to you later.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!